So I traded every single drone I owned for this, the HAOQI Rhino. I'm kidding. I would not do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't sell you guys out like that. But this is the HAOQI Rhino, and they did send this to me over 2 months ago. HAOQI wanted me to review this in 2 weeks' time, which was not feasible because I wanted to be able to put at least 50 miles on this bike before I gave any opinions or thoughts on this. That's my rule when it comes to e-bikes. And so here we are 2 months later, 180 miles. I'm going to give you my full thoughts and opinions of the HAOQI Rhino. So straight out of the gate, I really do hope I'm pronouncing this right. It's HAOQI, HAOQI, because the Q and the I is more of a chi, not a ki. It's a chi. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. If I'm not, I'm sure people will correct me in the comments below. But anyways, so here it is. This is the HAOQI Rhino. It's fully assembled. I'm going to spare you the unboxing process. The unboxing process is pretty mundane. Comes in a pretty large box. Comes either FedEx or UPS, depending on where they are shipping to, and prices obviously at the time of shipping. But mine came FedEx. Took about 6 days to arrive to me. Basically, I just had to install the front wheel, the pedals, and the handlebar, and that was it. It was pretty much ready to go there after that. And what you're greeted with is a pretty good looking cafe racer style bike. It looks more like a motorbike than it does an e-bike. And I'm going to make it my mission to pretty much only review bikes that look this good, because I think this is a very passable, good looking bike that competes directly with Super 73, if you ask me. So it has a non-adjustable leather seat that has a different tone than everything else, and I think this contrast really works excellent for this bike. It has a 52 volt, 1400 watt removable battery up top. We have a 1000 watt hub motor attached to these 20-inch wheels with fat tires. We have pedals, of course. We have a full color LCD display. We have a quarter twist throttle, Shimano 7-speed shifter, 5 levels of pedal assistance, which can be controlled on the left side of the handlebars. We have a headlight button and a horn, fully functional headlight, fully functional rear tail light that also integrates as a brake light as well. And we even have some storage here. Now, this frame is made out of all aluminum. It is a hardtail design. Has a weight capacity of up to 400 pounds. There is no soft suspension in the rear. There is suspension in the front that is adjustable, which I would highly recommend that you do adjust, because straight out of the box, it's a little bit too soft, and that rebound leaves a lot to be desired. Overall, the bike rides really well. I've ridden this primarily on the roadways. Here in Spring Hill, we do not have bike paths. We really don't have a great shoulder to ride on. So I did go ahead and add these side mirrors so I can watch traffic coming up behind me. And that's just more or less for a safety thing, because the way I've been using this, I've been parking my Kia here at the office and then commuting back and forth from my office to the house, and that's about 3.5 miles. So per day, I'm putting about 7 to 8 miles on this bike, depending on what route I go. There is a fast route that just takes me all the way through roads, and then there is a route that goes along the power lines that is not so paved and is more dirt and grass. And I'll say that this can handle it, but it wouldn't be something that I would want to do very frequently, because it does struggle with that hub motor not having enough torque, and we have a lot of sugar sand here in Florida, and it's just not a good combo, and you're going to definitely take a massive battery hit taking this off-road. Not only that, I don't think the electronics would really like being rattled around too much. Your controller is going to be down here by the crankcase, so if you're wondering where your electronics controller is, it's down there. You also have some electronics under here as well, and again, this battery can be removed. Now, it does have an IP rating, so it can get somewhat wet, but it's not something I would want to drive in a torrential downpour or even take through puddles, so keep that in mind. Now, I have ridden this bike at night, and I do feel like the headlight works incredibly well. It's super bright. I have no problem seeing what's in front of me at any point in time. And the taillight is very bright, and when you do depress your brake lever, it does get brighter, which is great. So it acts like a normal brake light on a vehicle or motorcycle. Now, let's talk about the brakes, because you do have hydraulic brakes on this, both front and rear. Now, straight out of the box, the front brakes worked excellent, but the rear brakes on this bike just don't work all that well. So I ended up going to my dad's house, and he had some mineral oil, and we tried bleeding out the brakes, and we got a little bit better of a pedal, but it's still not perfect. And you may notice as I'm riding, I'm pumping the brakes, or I'm tapping the brakes. What I'm doing is literally pumping the brakes up, and it's very equivalent to having a vehicle that you have air in the line, and you have to sort of pump it to be able to get a pedal before you stop. At least that's how it was when I used to work for Midas. I would get into a car and I would just start pumping the pedal. That's what it feels like. So I may try bleeding it again. I know there's a special funnel that you're supposed to use to bleed. It's supposed to cap out the air. So I may have to try that. I did notice around the rear brake piston, it does seem a little bit wet, or like there's some oil there. So I'm wondering if the caliper is leaking. That would be my only guess as to why the brakes don't work all that well. But the brakes definitely could be better on this bike. That's one thing I do want to complain about. The other thing that I would make a complaint about specifically is the charger on the battery. The battery charger gets incredibly hot, but it's something you're going to want to be mindful of where you place that. If you have kids or something, you're not going to necessarily want to charge this on the floor where they can have access to, which I wouldn't recommend anyways, but it's just something that I want to make mention of from a safety standpoint. Overall, I do like that we can remove this battery. It does have a path of, to be able to upgrade this bike. They make these batteries in 72 volts where you can replace out the controller. You can even get another hub motor if you want something more than 1,000 watts. So this bike does have a good upgrade path, and I think that's the most attractive thing about it. But straight out of the box with what you get here, they are selling this for $1,399. Now, I know that's a hunk of change, but for what you're getting in the specs, this absolutely annihilates Super 73 as far as specs go, and top speed straight out of the box, for a fraction of the cost. So I think that is something to be said there. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with this bike. I'm happy with the way it rides. I'm happy with the overall look of it and the performance. And I'm definitely going to make it my mission, though, to only sort of review these style of e-bikes. If it looks like a cafe racer or like a motorbike, that's the type of bike that I want to review. I'm hoping the next one I do review does have suspension in the rear, because I will tell you, it does hurt a little bit hitting these sidewalks and these ridges where there's just like these gaps. I mean, the seat's not the softest seat. It is comfortable, but it still hurts your ass when you go over a curb or something. So there you go. That's my review of the HAOQI Rhino. Like I said, I'm pretty impressed with it. Getting about 40 miles range out of this, just using no pedal assist. And I think for me, that's more than enough. But there you go. If you want to check this bike out for yourself or check out HAOQI's other bikes, I will leave a link in the description for you to do so. I'll see you in the next video. As always, stay original.
I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up and check.
Now, there's a lot of great things about this bike, even though it's made in China. I know what you're saying. Nothing good can come out of China, but I'm going to tell you this. This is a quality yet premium bike. Wonderful specs. We've got a 1,000-watt hub motor, a 52-volt battery. It's a lot of power, and I know power. This is great power, amazing power. Can charge in 4 to 6 hours. It's got a hardtail frame. Suspension in the front, 28 miles an hour. I like to go fast. Fast is great. Nothing beats going fast.